Hi guys, welcome to Linux YouTube channel. My name is Ram Mishra and I am your online instructor. So what's in this video? In this video I will tell you how to create and assign elastic IP in AWS Cloud. So guys, let's begin the topic. But before start the lab session, we have to understand few points, which is what is elastic IP address and their use cases. So basically it's a static IP that's allocated to EC2 instances. Point to be remember, it is associated with our AWS account, not with the EC2 instances. I mean to say that at any point of time we can associate this IP address to another EC2 instances. So we can easily deassociate an existing elastic IP from EC2 instance and map it to another EC2 instance in AWS Cloud or AWS account. So the point is what is needed. We all know Amazon Cloud Provider provide a feature to terminate or stop and start EC2 instance at any time. The public IP associated with this EC2 also get released when you stop this instance, even when we start the same EC2. There will be no guarantee that we will get the same public IP once instance up. So in that kind of case, we require elastic IP which remains same even I start and stop my EC2 instance. It is not changed until unless I am not terminate my EC2 or I release this public IP. Okay, so let's begin the lab session. So guys, this is my AWS web console and we have to follow a few steps to complete this lab. First step is to make or launch Linux EC2 instance. So I go with the EC2 dashboard. This is my EC2 dashboard and click on the instance. So currently you can see that there is no running EC2 instances associated with this account. So I'm going to click on the launch instances. Go with Amazon Linux. Go with T2 Micro, which is free trial. Go with the default VPC. So I just go with the default conditions. Storage 8 GB sufficient for me. Assign a tag name. So I just assign a proper tag name, that is Linux server. Could be anything, but in my case I am using Linux server. Go with the default security group. Review and launch and launch. So I have already existing key pair that is known as first, but if you don't have an existing key pair, you can create it from here and then download it. So I click on I acknowledged and launch instance. Okay, we have successfully launched the instance. Current status is pending. It will take some time, a couple of minutes. So I'm going to refresh the screen. Let it be up in the up condition. So here we have instance ID, my instance type T2 macro, availability zone, that is US East 1. Currently I am working with the North Virginia region, so it's in North Virginia. My instance is created in US East 1D zone. This is the public IP 52.207.254.42 and currently the machine doesn't assign any static IP. Okay, so let me refresh. Now it's in up condition, so I can connect. Copy the entire path, close, and for establish a connection I use my git bash utility. So I go with my download folder, right click, open git bash from here. Just make it large for you first. Okay, right click, paste. Are you sure to continue? Say yes. Okay, now log in with root privilege. I successfully log in. Try to make some blank file. Okay, it's successfully created. Now I'm going to exit this console. Exit and exit. Now see what happened when I power off this EC2 instance. So if I minimize the screen and I'm going to refresh it one more time. Now see what happened when I power off this EC2 instance. So we can do it either from AWS web console or command line utility. So I go with the web console and select my Linux server, action, instance state, and going to be stop. Are you sure to continue? Yes, I am. Okay, so now current status is stopping and I'm going to refresh. Once point we have to notice that after shutdown, once system back in a position, current public IP and public DNS name going to be changed. So current IP is 52.207. So once I stop it and start it again, the IP change. So let me check first. Okay, stop, IP gone. Now start it. Same instance date and click on the start. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Refresh the screen. Refresh it. Look at that. The public IP is changed. Earlier it was in 52 dot something, now it's 34.228.13.179. So the point is how to avoid that kind of scenario. For this we have a solution. We must create elastic IP address and then attach this elastic IP to my EC2 instance. So after every one time, once I stop and start my EC2 instance, my public ID will not change. So now move to the next step, which is create elastic IP. So in this demo I will demonstrate you how to create and assign elastic IP using AWS CLI console. Even it is very easy step to make elastic IP with AWS web console, but in this demo I will create and associate with AWS CLI console. So let's do it. So first of all, we need access keys for configure the AWS CLI. So I search IAM console from here and open in a new tab. Let me refresh the screen. Okay, so click on the connect and let it be connect one more time. This EC2. Copy, close, git bash, clear the screen, paste. Are you sure? Yes, I am. And log in with root privileges. Okay, here I am. So now I go back on my IAM management console and here I click on the my security credentials. And from here we will generate the access key. So click on the access keys, generate new access key or create new access key. Look at that. So I have access key ID and secret access key ID. We can download it also. It's root.key.csv. Okay, close it. Now go back to the EC2 console and let configure AWS CLI mode first. So the command is AWS configure. Sorry, it's typo error. Okay, it asks access key ID. So just copy, paste. Now secret access key, again we have to copy, paste. Now default region name. So remember we are working with US East 1 region. So whatever the region you are working, type here. Default output format will be table. So press enter. Okay, now we have successfully configured AWS CLI console. Now I'm going to describe running instances. So how to describe a current running instances? We have command AWS EC2 describe instances. So when I press enter, let's see what happened. So from here we can grab all the required information about all or running EC2 instances. So let's grab the two important output which is required for elastic IP. So first one is instance ID. So I just find out or filter it, grab instance ID. Instance ID. So look at that, this is the instance ID, and similarly we can find out public IP, current running public IP. Sorry, there will be space. Look at that. So this is the instance ID and this is the public ID. So I just open my notepad file and write down instance ID and public ID which is required for the further purpose. So I just copy, open a new tab, open notepad file and just paste. This is instance ID, and similarly currently we are using 34.28.228.13.179. this is the public IP. Okay, now move to the next step. which is list, let view the current specified elastic IP or all of your elastic IP address. So for this we have command AWS EC2 describe addresses. So I just type addresses. So we can see currently there is no elastic IP assigned to this EC2 instance or this account. Okay, so now move to the next step, which is create elastic IP. So if you want to create elastic IP, we have a command AWS EC2, and this time allocate addresses. Okay, then define the domain and VPC. So press enter. Look at that. So this command will allocate new elastic IP to this current account, and we have allocation ID. We haven't got the new allocation ID as well as the new public IP ID. So that is 52.23.19.250. So I just copy the both output. So allocation ID is this one, and the new public IP is 52 dot something like that. So I just copy. Great. Now I have already just write down both important outputs. So let's verify the elastic IP address again. If I run the command, earlier it was nothing, so let's see what happened. AWS describe addresses. Now we can see we got the static IP. Got it? So this is my static IP, that is 52.23.19.250. Now move to the next step, which is associate this elastic IP to my running EC2 instance. So how we can do that? We have the option AWS EC2 associate address. Then instance ID. What is your instance ID? So this is my instance ID. I just copy it from my notepad file. Right click paste. Right click paste. Oh, it's copy all the things. No issue. Just repeat the same command. AWS EC2 instance associate, and let me copy one more time. AWS EC2 associate address hyphen instance ID, and then allocation ID. So hyphen allocation, and what is your allocation ID? So this is my allocation ID. I'll just copy one more time from here, from my notepad file. So that is the reason I just copy everything. Right click paste, okay, and press enter. So look at that, I got association ID. Once I allocated this, I got the association ID, so I just copy it because it is necessary for the further purpose. So just copy and paste. Now we got association ID, just copy and paste it in my notepad file. So I have successfully associated this elastic IP to my EC2. Now if I go to AWS Web Console and refresh the screen, let's see what happened. So I go back to my AWS console. Look at that, currently there is no elastic IP assigned, so I'm going to refresh it, and look at that, IP is changed 52.223.19.250, whatever the new IP, public IP we got it using allocation, I got it. Okay, so now I'm going to stop and start this EC2, and let's verify whether it's changed or not. So again I'm going to stop it. Let's see what happened. So I have to close it, refresh, stopping. refresh, look at that, instance is stopped, current state is stopped, and IP is not changed, the same, that is 52. So I'm going to start it one more time. Let's see what happened. It's pending. Okay, let me refresh. Look at that, we can see we got the same static IP. So this is how we can configure Elastic IP using AWS CLI console. Okay, so now it's not changed until unless I'm not deassociate or release it. So now move to the final step, which is how to deassociate and release this Elastic IP from AWS CLI. So for the deassociation, we run AWS EC2 deassociate-address command. Or before that, I'll show you where this configuration store, I mean to say, that is Elastic IP. So if you open the VPC in AWS search bar and go to the VPC dashboard, and here is you find out the option Elastic IP. Got it? So once I click Elastic IP, so look at that, whatever we have done using AWS CLI console, the output is here, 52.23.19.250. okay, so either click on the action or you can associate and release and deassociate. That is very easy. So now go back to the again on console, AWS CLI console. So copy one more time, open git bash from download location where I have my key file, right click paste. Are you sure? Yes, I am. So now move to the final step, which is how to deassociate and release the Elastic IP from AWS CLI. So for the deassociation, we have the command AWS EC2 deassociate address. So let's see. Go with the root privilege first, and command is AWS EC2 associate, sorry, hyphen that is address, and then association ID. And what is your association ID? So I have already copy and paste. This is, so just properly copy from here, right click and paste. Okay, so now press enter. It's deassociate. After that, again we have to reconnect this EC2 because the static IP deassociate from this EC2. Now I'll show you through AWS console. We got a new public IP. So I close and I close it, and earlier it was 52.23.19.250. So now if I refresh it, look at that, IP change, that is 54.242.59.136 and Elastic IP gone. Okay, so now this is how you can deassociate it. Just copy one more time and open git bash, paste, say yes, login with sudo privilege. Now I'm logged in. So if I go into VPC console here and if I refresh it, look at that, IP is still present here because it's not released. So the last step is how to release this Elastic IP. Otherwise you have to be pay for this. So if you want to release it, there is a simple command, EC2 release address. So let me show you, AWS EC2 release address, then allocation ID, whatever the allocation ID you have. So this is the allocation ID. Earlier we used association ID, now allocation ID. Just copy and paste, press enter. Okay, now it's successfully released. So if you want to verify, we have the option AWS EC2 describe address. So once I press enter, see, it's released. Now if I go to the VPN dashboard and if I refresh the elastic IP, see what happened. It's gone. It gives me a message, no elastic IP found in this region. So this is how you can release it. And if you want to terminate this machine, if you want to terminate this EC2 instance from AWS-CLI console, we have one more command, AWS EC2 terminate instances, and then define the instances IDs, whatever the instance ID. So just copy and paste, press enter. Look at that, it's closed and now it's shutting down. So if I refresh the screen, let's see what happened. Yeah, it's shutting down. We have successfully terminated this machine using AWS-CLI console. So guys, this is how we can work with the elastic IP in Amazon Cloud Services. And finally, this is the end of this topic. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned new things. Soon I will come up with new interesting topic. Till then, keep practicing. If you feel something I have missed or you wanted to know more something else, please leave your comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more updates. If you like this video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe my channel and press the bell icon button for the latest update. Thanks for watching, stay safe and goodbye.